Oh, here's that plane I was telling you guys about.
Sounds like it's going to land right on us. Wow, there it goes.
Hey, it's FedEx, though. You know what? Someone's going to get their
They got a
goodies.
package, people. Feels like it's been longer than it has. Close all. Spencer.
Living in the future. Scott.
Doesn't sound as good when it's only a syllable, you know?
Yeah.
The curse of a singular
Scotty.
syllable name. Scott-a-lama ding-dong.
I'm going to crack the window, but it's going to be loud.
Yeah, we are in the flight path for San Diego's airport, which, I don't know, is what, a mile behind us, basically?
If that.
Yeah, yep.
If that.
Yeah.
So,
well, but we're going to talk. We'll try to make it quick without noise. And this is Photographers and Cars, the tripod episode.
The tripod, and we are, what, maybe 34, 35, 36?
This might be, it's mid-30s.
Okay.
Yes. Much like me a decade ago.
Wow, you're old.
Yes, I am.
I'm just kidding. I'm right behind you. So in all of those mid 30-ish, right? So like the 30 and some episodes, I want to say whenever we take pictures, we have consistently had our tripods. They've had our backs.
Very much
cameras.
so.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah.
So they're a very important part of our workflow. I use it a lot. I use it probably every time I grab my camera, except, for landscape or
for me,
even
it's
portraits.
97% of the time.
Yeah.
I'm on a tripod because, it's occasional that I'm doing handheld work because I'm doing landscapes all the time. Whereas you got some portraits and weddings and things where, I can see you mixing it up.
Yeah. Good luck taking pictures of kids, like little 3 or 4 year old. They just discovered how to sprint. Good luck with the tripod.
Oh yeah. That's not
so, but we have different use cases,
right, for
our tripods. We have little tripods or little camera support systems, and we have these large ones. And the large ones are the ones that I use most of the time. But tripods do more than simply here are your 3 legs. You put your camera on top.
Yes.
Right.
They're slicers. They're dicers. They're floor waxers. Ladies and gentlemen, we did not come to talk about tripods. We came here to sell you something.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so we thought, okay, we'll get a couple of friends, help us out with this. We got Trung, Manette, came out and kind of helped us with being our models and our props and so forth. And, filming us as well. Yes, thanks very much. And went through a few different use cases. So let's see. So one of the ones that I'm going to try to remember these because this was like forever ago, 12 hours ago. was dealing with macro shots. Yeah. And so I don't do a lot of macro.
So,
but it was pretty cool. This is like one of your use cases. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
Macro photography is fun. It's kind of cool being able to see the world through like really tiny depth of field eyes. But with macro, if you breathe too deep, you're out of focus. If you exhale too deep, you're on the other side of the focus. And the funny thing is you want to be sure that very tight depth of field falls on whatever it is you want to photograph, right?
And so this is not a focus stacking situation. Because I know people that do handheld macro focus stacking.
Oh, yeah.
But you're talking about, you're getting that really razor thin segment of focus. Okay.
Especially if you drink as much coffee or energy drinks as I do, you're going to need to hand your camera over to something else, and that'll be the tripod. And so we had Manette photographing a macro shot of it looked like a little red fire truck.
I think it was that one. I'm not sure because she was telling me she has a few of them, and I'm not sure if that was the red Chevy or. But it was it's like a red model car. And I guess she takes it a lot of different places, and it's it's like have you ever seen like little Toys on Parade type shots where everybody's out doing their vacationing. She had in front of this flower bank and was initially trying to do it handheld, and you're crouching down, you're trying to do the thing.
Yeah,
it didn't work out as well.
Yeah, especially as you get older, you get less flexible. And if you see something that here's that plane I was telling you guys about.
Sounds like it's going to land right on us. Wow, there it goes.
Hey, it's FedEx, though. You know what? Someone's going to get their goodies.
They got a package, people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but you're right. Crouching down and so forth. I mean, we have articulating screens that always helps us out. But I thought this is probably like the one use case. Well, maybe two. for having a center column. That's something I don't have in my tripod because I typically don't want it.
Right. So
but yeah, this was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So that brings up actually an interesting point, because you think that if you bought one tripod, you'd be good to go. Well, no. So I kind of want to walk you through why I have so many different tripods. A lot of the use cases that we went through, a good chunk of them were my set of legs, right? Mm-hmm. So the one that we did for the macro photography, we just flipped the center column.
Yep.
And then we reattached the camera on the bottom, and then success. Manette was able to finally photograph what she wanted to photograph without hurting her back or anything like that. Another thing that you can do when you have a center column and you have a particular camera that allows is when you can turn the camera itself. The center column itself, you can tilt it.
It becomes like a boom.
Yeah,
it becomes like a boom.
A boom or a jib, I think is. I've actually used it as a jib.
I guess I don't know the difference. You
can put a camera at the end of it and then kind of move it around.
Okay, when you're moving it, it's a jib, but when it's stable, it's a boom.
It's a boom. It's a boom. So I use that as an example because we were photographing at Sunset Cliffs, and Sunset Cliffs, I want to say it injures or kills people.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. It's dangerous. It's like any place that you have drop-offs or unstable land.
Yeah. It's
like, that's not the place you want to be looking through your viewfinder.
Right.
It's not the place you want to be within a foot of a cliff face because, at some point it gives, and sometimes it's when you're there.
Or if there's a fence or something like that you want to kind of photograph past, and you want a stable platform, but on the other side, so it's beyond the reach of your hands.
Right.
You can use. I have a Manfrotto set of legs that the center column comes up and then tilts down.
Yeah.
And so then that way it gives me, I want to say maybe like an additional 2 feet of reach.
Right.
Which is enough for some areas where I don't want to be that close to the edge of the cliff, but there's a shot that I want to photograph that requires me to reach out that far. So that's when I'll use that.
And you can't, the non-jib boom-ish, jiboom.
Jiboom.
The non-jiboom way of doing it is literally holding your tripod out there, essentially like a big stick.
Yeah.
However, they tend to be a little heavier, and if you're trying to take anything more than what you would normally do with a handheld shot, you're not going to get things. I've used the height of the tripod and then angling downward with the camera to try to overcome that, but that only goes so far.
Yeah.
You can't get to those edge shots, or imagine like you're up in a tall building or like a big parking structure and you're looking down at the street. That's a great place to do that one. Yeah.
So I've seen people use with success where they would fold up all the legs and then they'd go really close to the ground and they drag their camera
kind of just lie it out there. Yeah,
I've seen that, but it's the method that I had that we recorded yesterday is a slightly more graceful way, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's that. Mm-hmm. What else did we do?
We did. I guess this would be like more of a classical thing where the ground is just uneven, and I think this was my set of legs with the leveling base, because there's when I got into shooting panos, and you need to have not only the camera, which usually has a level either in it or your ball head has a level, but the base that everything's sitting on needs to be level. Otherwise, when you sweep, you end up with a whole lot of throwaway things. And it can be pretty wild.
Yeah, when you stitch them together.
Yes.
Yeah, you may start to get. Your panoramic stitching may have it.
It looks
do
like
this
it looks like a diagonal when you're all done.
So you're going to lose the pixels down here. You're going to lose the pixels here, and what happens is you'll have a really thin sliver.
Yeah, you either compensate by zooming out and capturing more to throw away more, or you get a leveling base. And Trung went through setting that up, which they're not terribly expensive, between as low as like probably $50 up to $300 depending on the brand you get. And that just lets you not have to tinker with the legs and trying to I have to slide this leg up 3 millimeters and then tighten it, and it didn't work right, and you keep doing that.
It's all in the wrist.
Versus you set it up, half twist on the base, level that with the bubble, and then you're done.
Right.
And for me, it's a speed of use.
Yes.
I can get set up, lights fading, I want to grab a pano, whatever it is. And it's been a welcome addition to my tripod. I didn't have it originally, so I added it in later.
You can do that. You can really nail down your leveling on the tripod without a leveling base, but man, it does make it easy. It literally is loosen, Titan.
Yeah, you know, it's not an essential piece, and if you're not doing, for me, like I wasn't doing a whole lot of pano, so I kind of put it on. I was like, okay, it's fine. And I finally got into it. It's like, oh, jeez, you know, this like, twist this, and you spend 7 minutes, whatever, getting your tripod level, and then you take the shot. And you're like, yeah, I think I want to move 3 feet over there. It's like, okay,
right.
Let me repeat that whole setup.
Right.
Yeah.
So we covered 3 things, and those 3 things are very relevant to like the landscape photography, the macro, something where the subject itself technically doesn't move too much.
It's right?
It's or still, you want
life's kind of thing. Yeah.
Sometimes, however, this is my use case where I'm photographing someone on the other side of the lens and I'm directing them to do something. And this is something I do all the time. Like, for instance, if I'm shooting with lights and I want light to bathe this part of their face, but I want it to kiss ever so slightly the other part, it's hard for me to tell the model or the talent what to do, what I mean by kissing it, unless they can see it reflected to them, right?
You said model or talent. This could also just be someone who's not used to having their photo taken. Right. It's a family photo or a senior portrait or something.
Yeah. Well, they're talented, so
understood. But like I said, like, I need you to look away from the light source. 12 degree, tip your chin down. Eyes up, sparkle. All that kind of stuff.
Right. So when I direct them to do that, I can do it pretty well, but sometimes they are still confused and they have that confused look on their face, and I don't want to photograph that. So it helps out if they can see themselves. So I actually, yesterday we had my camera, and it only works. You have to have a system that supports this. It's kind of a quick and dirty tethered shoot, right? So what happens is you just have this facing the model, or you just have this facing whomever you want to photograph. That way they can see themselves. You'll direct them the way you want to, and then they'll get feedback.
They're getting live feedback.
Yeah, they're getting
from
feedback.
The output. And so you did this obviously with a Sony camera, and so you're able to just have the shot show up there right away. And I would imagine if you don't, there are cabled options as well. And I would think that they would connect to maybe like a phone or a tablet or something. So you wouldn't have to have a full-on laptop or something like that.
I don't know that you'd have a cabled solution to a phone, but you can have a cabled solution to like a little HDMI monitor. One of those things. So, if you didn't want to bring a laptop,
something that you could do immediately. Yeah, okay. But
so those are some use cases that I think a lot of people don't realize you can use tripods for.
Yeah, as you use them more and more, you find out more and more ways to make use of them. I think that's kind of a good thing, right?
Yeah.
In the sense you explore your gear, you understand how it works, you find new ways to use it, like hacking in the original sense of the term and figuring out a cool way. MacGyvering, how about that?
Yeah,
MacGyvering, solutions and so forth. And you'll also find, well, here are the limits, and if I want to do something else, that's why I need a different piece of gear or a different tripod.
So there are tripods out there that purport to be like what it does is like it does everything. Well, if it does everything but it doesn't execute it well enough, then you'll want to get a tripod that does. For my recommendation, is to get a tripod that does 80% to 90% of what it is you want to do, and then for those use cases, those fringe use cases, really figure out what it is that you have a gap in, and then probably get a specific tool for that.
It's not much different than lenses. You get a set of lenses that do most of what you want, and then you want specialty lenses. I want to do a tilt shift, or I want a fisheye, or a lens baby, or something like that.
Lenses. That sounds like it would be a good episode. Like
maybe
what we should talk. What kind of gear we would bring for particular tasks.
Contacts.
Wonder.
Yeah, that might show up on a future episode. If you want to hear something about lenses or anything else, let us know, because that's where ideas come from. We talk about what's on our minds currently. You can fill our minds with great ideas.
Fill our minds with something. Because
I believe that you are the future.
I need coffee so bad.
Yes. Let's go get some coffee and maybe move to a quieter area.
Yes. Let's go.
All right.
Let's move to. Take care.